Hi, I'm Kate, the Daily Tarot Girl, and welcome to your weekly tarot card reading. So, I'm going to be doing this week's reading with the Modern Witch Tarot deck by Lisa Sterle. And my intention with this week's reading is to get some new ideas, some inspiration for the week ahead, and get kind of a sneak peek of the kinds of energies that might be coming up for us in the next few days. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, subscribe, leave me a comment. It really helps my channel. So the card for the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, is Knight of Swords. All right, here we go, Knight of Swords. And I'm actually going to just make room on my screen for this card. So the Knight of Swords is a very, this is a very intense card. Knight of Swords is all about just really going for something and really focusing. So really honing in on something, focusing, getting it done. And there's a lot of energy with the Knight of Swords. So you actually might find that this week, even if you have a super busy week and there's a lot of things on your to-do list, you might find that this is the week that you're able to really focus, buckle down and get things done. The Knight of Swords tells you to see if you can focus on one thing at a time. Even if you have lots to do, multitasking might not be your friend this week. So focusing on things one at a time, if that's possible. And the Knight of Swords is also kind of a little bit of I don't want to say a warning, but the Knight of Swords is saying, you might have this extra burst of energy this week, particularly around the beginning of the week, and you may find that you're able to have a lot of focus, a lot of power behind your actions this week, but you don't want to stay in Knight of Swords mode for too long because it can be very exhausting. It's not sustainable to be the Knight of Swords all the time in all situations. So you want to make sure that you practice some good self-care this week. You want to make sure you take breaks. You give yourself a little bit of a rest. Once you've done all that hard work, once you've gotten all your tasks completed, make sure that you put your feet up and catch your breath so that you're not just going full tilt, forward like the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords, though, is challenging you to get really specific on what your goals are this week and what it is you need to get done. And you might want to write things down. You might want to write a list. You might want to, create a little bit of a checklist, a to-do list. But Knight of Swords is saying the more specific you can get, the more focused you can be, and the more productive and powerful you can be this week. Okay, so let's have a look at the card for the middle of the week. So Wednesday, Thursday-ish. And the card we have for the middle of the week is King of Swords. Okay, it's a very a very swordsy week so far. Lots of swords energy. So the King of Swords is very I'm just going to describe the King of Swords like a person. So King of Swords is very analytical, very intellectual, likes to plan ahead, likes to have a strategy, likes to think things through. King of Swords is telling you that this week you need to develop some kind of a strategy or some sort of a plan. I also see the King of Swords as being very organized, but the King of Swords knows what deserves your focus and energy and what doesn't. So you won't catch the King of Swords like obsessing about little things. And I do this all the time. I'll be I'll have a task that I need to complete, and I'll just kind of get sidetracked with something minor, and then I'll spend like 2 hours on that minor thing, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, this isn't even important. What am I doing? What am I doing with my time? King of Swords never does that. So the King of Swords knows, what kinds of things are deserving of your mental energy and what things are just simply not. So I think that's called prioritizing. So the King of Swords is very good at prioritizing. So the message here is that, especially kind of midweek, and I do see like Knight of Swords, King of Swords. I see this week as being a get it done kind of week where you may have a lot of like tasks that you've been meaning to complete for maybe weeks now. Like it could be just like paperwork things, filing certain things, that kind of stuff, like officey type things. And this is the week to kind of get all that finished, tie up those loose ends, get those things done, get those things filed, get those things put away, get those things finished. And the King of Swords is saying that again, it's important this week to know what your priorities are and to be very diligent in how you're spending your time, how you're spending your energy, but particularly what you're focusing on. So the King of Swords knows the power of the mind and the power of focus. So what you focus on, what you're focusing your mental energy on, what you're putting, what things you're thinking about, has so much power, and it affects your energy, it affects your mood, it affects your life in profound ways. And the King of Swords recognizes that whatever you're putting your attention on, whatever you're focusing on, is really important. And important in the sense that it has an effect on you. And so the King of Swords invites you this week to be really cognizant, be really aware of what you're putting your attention on, what you're putting your focus on. Okay, another thing I want to say about the King of Swords is that this is a week, like the King of Swords is very confident, and I see the King of Swords as being very good at negotiating things. So this might be a really good week for you to, maybe you're trying to negotiate a promotion or a pay raise or something at work, or you're trying to negotiate some sort of agreement with someone. This is the week to do it, because this is a week where it will be a lot easier for you to align with your confident side and to really kind of keep your head nice and clear as you're going through those negotiations. So this is a good week for negotiating things and having those kinds of discussions. King of Swords also, I'm kind of thinking of the Queen of Swords is kind of like this too. King of Swords is very direct in the way that he communicates, and in this case, King of Swords is depicted as a woman. So King of Swords is very, very direct in the way he or she communicates and doesn't beat around the bush about things. And so that and same with like the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords just goes after something in a very direct way. So this is a week to be direct and to not beat around the bush, not put things off to the side. This is a week to kind of get things done, face things head on, and be pretty direct and bold and clear in your communication style with others. Let's have a look at the weekend. So the card that we have for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is Page of Wands. So funny, we got all court cards, and I can't remember the last time that happened, that we just got all court cards. So Page of Wands. Okay. So the Page of Wands has a bit of a different energy to the other two. I feel like Knight of Swords, King of Swords are kind of serious, whereas Page of Wands, it's a page, so they're younger, but there's just sort of a more curious, almost a playful quality, but more of a curious quality with the Page of Wands. So the weekend, there's a perceptible shift from that focus of the week with the Knight of Swords, King of Swords. There's a real shift to the Page of Wands. It's almost like a childlike fascination, and things get a little lighter by the weekend. Page of Wands is inviting you to explore your creative side. So both the Page of Cups and the Page of Wands are what I call, creativity cards. And the Page of Wands is all about learning how to express yourself creatively, how to explore your creative side, but it's also about learning how to use your energy, how to channel your energy into things, how to preserve your energy, how to build your energy up, how to stop it from leaking out. So Page of Wands really invites you to learn about energy and how you relate to it, how you orient to energy in your life. So just kind of getting curious and noticing this weekend, what kinds of activities bring me energy? What kinds of people make me feel energized? What kinds of places make me feel really, energetic, energized? And what kinds of people, things, activities, places tend to drain my energy? So that's just kind of an interesting thing to pay attention to. And as you get better at pinpointing, okay, what kinds of things build my energy up and energize me, and what kinds of things drain me, you've learned something really valuable about yourself, and you're starting to get good at working with your own energy. But there's something else here with the Page of Wands. The pages are all about learning. And this weekend, prioritizing learning in some way, particularly some sort of creative pursuit or some kind of creative project. And I'm really drawn to the staff in the Page of Wands. And it's pointing straight up, and it's got new growth on it. And the page, she's, looking at the new growth on that staff. But it's the straight up and down thing that's interesting. And I'm just noticing, and here actually I'll move over even more so that you can see all three cards. Hold on, I have wheels on my chair, but it's like stuck for some reason. Okay, so looking at all three cards together, I'm noticing that with the two swords cards, we have the sword that's like kind of, it's not pointing straight up. It's kind of like tilted a little bit, and kind of tilted in this at the same angle for both cards. But then with the Page of Wands, we have the wand, and it's like straight up. And that makes me think of alignment, that word alignment, and being in alignment with something. So I feel like towards the weekend, once you get to the weekend, think about alignment. What are you aligning with? What kinds of energies are you aligning with? Now, the King of Swords asked you to look at your mind and your thoughts. Like, what are you putting your attention on? When you put your attention on things, you are aligning with a certain kind of energy. Like, for example, if I woke up this morning and spent the morning, in my head, complaining, grumbling about something that's really pissing me off, I'm sort of aligning with that energy. And if I were to focus on something that's more uplifting, then I'm, aligning with that other very different kind of energy. So King of Swords talked about, recognizing the power of your mind. Knight of Swords is all about action, I think, and taking action. And when you take action on things and you do things, again, you're aligning with a certain kind of energy. So Page of Wands asks you, what kinds of energies are you aligning with? And the weekend is a good time to kind of reset and make sure that you're aligning with the things that you want to align with, getting back into alignment with the things that are really important to you. Okay, I'm going to take one last look. At these cards and see if there's anything else that I want to touch on. And I invite you to share in the comments if you have a different take on these cards, if there's something you want to add, something you want to share, feel free to do so in the comments. I feel like, especially at the beginning of the week, this is a week of kind of forward movement, getting things done. You might find that you have more clarity this week. You might be more clear-headed. You may have a clear sense of what needs to be done, what you need to do, what actions you need to take. And I'm just getting that from the two swords cards. Both of these cards feel very strong, very clear. Page of Wands is more, there's a real shift. It's more of a, more of a curious kind of energy, it's more open, more about learning something new, considering something, kind of contemplating, mulling something over. But it definitely has more of a fun energy to it, the Page of Wands. So there's that. But yeah, I think I've said everything. I don't think there's anything else I want to add. Yeah. Sometimes I have a hard time ending the readings because I just want to keep talking about the cards. So if you enjoyed this reading, please subscribe to my channel. You can click on the little notifications bell. That will notify you when I post new content, when I'm going to go live, things like that. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.